Are you handling the chat on YouTube, or should I do that?
If you can handle that, that would be fantastic. Okay, I guess we are live. Just check please for me that we are live, and then I will focus. Okay, so good evening, everyone. We have today a very special event. It's not, I would say, our regular events, but I will explain to you in a bit. So, literally, um, I'm Alona Galeva, and today Nancy is with me here. So, Nancy, it's nice if you wave the hand. Thanks a lot. We are organizers of PyLadies Amsterdam. Those who knows us, okay, you know what we are doing. Those who don't, sorry, but I want to introduce a bit. So, eventually, we running monthly Python workshops. And usually it's on different topics. It could be in the direction of data, in the direction of AI, or sometimes even dedicated to standard software engineering, and sometimes DevOps. So, our main focus for today would be the Global AI Bootcamp. And as I mentioned to you, it's slightly not our traditional event because by default, we provide you with a GitHub repo. We expect that you set up your environment before the workshop so you can participate in the workshop in person or online or hybrid if we do in this such a way. But today we have like a surprise for you. You're not going to write Python code today. And that's what is so really special about this event. But you will see it in a bit. So without further ado, we're celebrating being a part of Global AI Bootcamp 2024. This is eventually a global event that takes place all over the world right now. And just to show you how massive it is, now we're talking about 101 locations in 48 countries. So we're literally covering almost the whole earth, starting, let's say, from the left, from Canada, and finish it somewhere in New Zealand. So today, of course, as I mentioned, it's spread all over the whole March. Today, there are a bunch of events happening at the same time in the different time zones. So what we're going to do today eventually during this workshop, we will have focus 75 minutes specifically to cover the workshop materials. But we just start with the basic introduction of the concept. What does it mean to interact with OpenAI models? What are LLMs? What are prompt engineering? What is zero shot and different other prompt engineering techniques? What are the system prompt and more? It could be sounds a bit intimidating in the beginning, but don't worry. I would say it should be pretty clear at the end of the workshop. And what is really, really important, you will be provided with so-called event key and the link to register to activate your access key for the playground, which we're going to use today. And this key would be only valid during the whole duration of the workshop. So that's pretty much important to mention. So yeah, literally, let's see what we're going to do next. And I will switch briefly to the topic to introduce a bit in the concept. And after that, we will continue with distributing the event key. And then you can start to try it out with your hands. So basically, let me just start a slideshow. I would be really, really quick. So that's where we're going to focus today. And eventually, the whole hype that's happening the last couple of years is focused mostly on this tiny subset, which is called generative AI. I don't want to spend a lot of time in diving deep what is in place, how it was created. Basically, what you need to know that in this case, generative AI is the very specific subset of the whole artificial intelligence stack. And the idea of it is to have a possibility to create completely new content, whether it be or written or visual or auditory content, and by just providing specific like instructions, also called prompts, or just showing the existing data. And basically, let me just make sure that it's working. Yes. So what's the difference of this so-called generative AI model versus traditional machine learning models? Imagine that you have a specific task. Given a specific text, you want to understand what kind of reviews were left about the specific services you provided. So in this case, you want to do so-called sentiment analysis. So to train specific model that's going to help you to, let's say, read the text and as a result provide the sentiment, whether it was good review, bad review, or neutral review, you need to provide a lot of so-called labeled data. And that's how this model would be created. But in case you want this model as well doing entity recognition, which means trying to identify in the text what are the places, times, people, then it would be really hard because this model is not created to do that. So some smart people were thinking, what if we could create something that eventually would be capable from the beginning, literally do a lot of different tasks. And that's eventually how the idea of so-called foundation models came to the place. So the idea is that you show or expose a model to different types of structured and unstructured data, such as text, images, speech, different signals. You train this model, and what literally this model is doing, it creates for you completely new, unseen text or images or visuals, and this model is capable to adapt to doing different tasks. So in comparison to our previous experience, this model, if the text would be provided, will not be only capable of recognizing whether the reviews were positive or negative, but it also can help you to translate the text into different languages and even much more than that. So basically, these foundational models, the question is how big they are. I would say they are terribly big. So the whole hype started to pop up in 2018 when the BERT model was trained and exposed to the market, and it was doing a fantastic job back then. But then the Microsoft released its Turing model, and then the later so-called GPT-3 model was released, which became familiar to all of you probably via ChatGPT interface. So eventually, if you try to think how big and how expensive to train is this model, I would say it was really expensive. So if I remember correctly, it was like that for this GPT-3 model, just for training a very specific type of GPU, for training for 9 days, it costs $4.6 million to train this model. And if you want just to run the same training on, let's say, a standard GPU, that probably is going to take years to get it trained. So as you can imagine, this model is really hungry because it should be provided with a lot of text, and this model literally consumes a lot of power to be trained. So how these models work? So the foundational models, which we're going to work today, it would be GPT 3.5 Turbo, and how this LLM or large language models eventually work. This is what happens. So your interaction with this model happens as the text input, which is literally so-called prompt. So you provide the text, model doesn't understand the text at all. What model do, there is a specific component that do so-called pre-processing by splitting your text provided into specific tokens. I would say that there are different ways how to split text in the tokens. And it could be that token could be equal to the length of one word, like short word. And it could be a situation when the long word would be literally split into different tokens. So basically, you provide text, then this text is split into specific tokens, and these tokens then brought to the model. And the model returned to you literally the tokens, which are really like the next tokens, which are probably the say similarly and the closest possible tokens that you can think about. For example, if you prompt "my house is," then the probability of getting some token output as big or small or spacious is pretty high versus getting a verb or something different. So basically, then this, let's say, the results from the model, they post-processed, and you receive nice text as an output eventually. So this is really in a nutshell, really simple how this model works. You get the text input in, then this input is tokenized, and then the model return back let's say, specific distribution of probabilities, which word could be predicted or combination of words would be predicted, and you get it as an output. So literally how we interact with this, as I mentioned, via so-called prompts. So basically what you do, you provide specific instructions in your probably not native language, in case English is your not native language. And this is your way of interacting with this model. The whole concept started be called prompt engineering, and literally you provide specific tasks to the model, you prompt this to the model with the idea that the model will deliver to you desired results. So what you're gonna, just like an example, what we're gonna do today, we're gonna work with text prompts with the idea that we get the text responses back, and then we're going to work gradually to improving the responses that we're going to receive from this model. And just as an example, good example of prompt engineering, you provide specific instruction like this, like write a tagline for a trip to some specific planet, and you get a response back. Or you provide specific prompts that for this specific name of the table with these columns, create a SQL query with specific conditions, and you get back it. Or, for example, in case with generation of images, you provide a prompt, I want to see this, and as a response, you get a picture back. So we're going to do today and work today with simple concepts, which are called zero-shot prompting and few-shot prompting. So the idea of zero-shot prompting is that foundational model is, let's say, smart enough to generate text on unseen data before. That's why you literally expecting that the task you give to this model would be understood by the model and you get a response back. So that's more or less the idea of zero-shot prompting. And in case with few-shot prompting, you can show a couple of examples to the model with, let's say, the idea that the model would generate answers according to the format that you provided for it. Sounds probably slightly complicated and unclear, but I would say you will understand it better when you're going to try it on your own. So what I advise you to do right now is to go to this workshop Global AI Community. I will also put the link into the chat. And from this moment, we're going to start. What do you need? You need a bit of your, let's say, energy to continue with this exercise. You will need the browser, and you need your laptop or personal computer, whatever you use. And of course, internet connection to continue. So let me close for now this part. So basically, where you're going to end up, let me just copy this for you and distribute it here in the chat message. Please go to this link, and we start on this link with the setup of your account. I also forget to mention pretty much important thing that the Global AI event also have a global keynote to save for you interaction, to save for you time, and to provide you more time with interactions. I decided not to translate it right now, and I added it to description of our GitHub repository so you can rewatch the keynote later after this workshop. So for now, please follow this link of workshop.globalai.community. And in a minute, I will provide you with the setup, with the key. So just let us know with like some thumbs up or any other reactions if you are already there. So then now I can distribute the event code with you. So let's see. Yeah, I see the first thumb up, fantastic. If we have more people, it would be really, really nice. I just saw that there was a person who just joined. So what I'm asking to go to the link shared in the chat and just follow the instructions of our workshop, basically. Okay, I see more people bit by bit going to the page. So now I'm sharing with you the event code. It's really important to keep this in mind because you need this event code to get your access key. So let me distribute the link. So literally now, I encourage you, I just provided the second link. For this second link, you need to click on it and you need to literally register with this event key. So it's going to lead you to a specific, I guess, form. In this form, you need to provide your credentials with the event key and your real email address, I guess, because this email address will be used to send you the access key. And then I will walk you further how to get started with the playground. Also, like, let us know how it's going with the securing the access key.
I shouldn't count, but I'm following along and it works for me.
Okay, good. Let's see how it goes. I for now will just move to the get started part and just get you more familiar with the global AI playground. So I just give you a couple of minutes. Yes.
Do we want to share it on YouTube? No, right? Because they're asking over there in the chat, but they should join Zoom, right?
Yes.
All
Please.
right. Please join us on Zoom if you want to completely follow along. We will not be sharing the link in the chat.
Yeah, we will share it only on Zoom only, Zoom invites only.
Yes.
Okay, folks, how it's going on? Have you managed to get your access keys? I'm wondering. Because that's the most interesting part. Let me check in the meantime. Yeah, okay. I see the form is active, and you can put their event code, provide first name, last name. Oh, and I see there is no need to provide even your email anymore. You just click on it and you get key back, right? That's how it works.
I did Google login. So.
Okay. Okay, so key doesn't work. I just want to make sure the event key that I provided, it returns you back that the key doesn't work. Just let me check it. So if I provide the event key, let me check it, please. Okay. Yes. It said an access key has been sent to your email address. Okay. Let me check. Okay, I'm curious because in my case I got it. Let's see. Nancy, have you managed to get the access key? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I'm there. I got an email and I can see this same page that you are seeing with all these the chat session system message.
Okay. Let's see, Priyanka, just to make sure that you follow the same instructions. So there is a link just provided above this globalai.community/bootcamp Netherlands Amsterdam workshop. There it leads you to a specific form. I just tested it. In this form, you put in the event key that I just distributed above. And then you provide your name and surname. And then you get, seems invalid for me. That's really interesting. Okay. So we have some people for whom it works. We have some people for whom it doesn't work. That's interesting. Let's see. Just want to check those folks to whom this key doesn't work. Are you located in the Netherlands? Because that could be the limitation, I guess. Let's see. Just let me know. So Priyanka and Audrey, let us know, please, if possible. Are you located in the Netherlands or not? Because we have a bunch of people for whom it's work. Okay, Priyanka got the email. Great, and can log in the background. Fantastic. So I think only Audrey left. Audrey, let us know how it's going. Because by default, you should receive an email, and this email should provide you with the access key. Let's see how it goes. Okay, Audrey is still waiting. Probably it could be sometimes. I guess for Priyanka it was a couple of minutes as well. So let's see.
You should get a green, how do you call it, like a pop-up at the top of the page saying that you will get an email.
Yeah, and then it takes some time. In my case, it was a couple of less than minutes, but let's see.
Yeah.
It also could be when you copy in the event key that probably you copy an extra space before. It could be so sensitive, just to make sure. Yeah. Okay, let's see, Audrey, how it goes for you. Just to make sure that the event key is working. Because what is really, really important, the event key, it's not your access key that you use for Global AI Playground. This is not going to work. Only in case, okay, trying again. And just to make sure, Audrey, when you fill in the form, just want to make sure that you get this. So this is literally, I'm going to share it for a second. That's what I get when I requested it. When I provided event code, I get my first name, last name, and I get this green box which saying access key has been sent to your email address. And after that, it's eventually arrived to my email address. So just saying, let's see how it goes. Let us know. Yeah. So I propose to start. Let's see, Audrey, we're gonna get back to you. So basically, now you have all the fantastic instructions to follow. In this case, for you, it would be just follow along. I just want to give you a couple of points before you start, and we'll give you some time, I would say like approximately 40, 55, 50 minutes to go through the part one, and then I will get back to you to the short presentation about part two to continue, basically. So let's see. Yeah, and just in case, Audrey, you can also use direct messaging to us here on Zoom so we can see what's going on in your case. Feel free to use it. Okay. And I see there are more people waiting, just in case. Nancy?
All right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah. Okay, good. So for Audrey, basically, contact us directly. You can just send a message to, for example, to me or to Nancy. We are both named as PyLadies Amsterdam in this chat. So feel free to send it a message and we'll see what's going on. So I see that there are a bunch of new folks arrived. So what's happening right now? There are some links in this chat. So what we're asking you first to go to the link number 2, which starts with Global AI Community Bootcamp, and enter the code that you see above, which starts with letter U, with capital letter U, and the rest of the code you see in our Zoom chat. And this one will provide you with so-called access key for the Global AI Playground. And that's what you're going to use for the duration of this workshop. It's a self-paced workshop. In 50 minutes approximately, we'll get back to you. And we're going to explain more information about part 2. For now, I guess if everything is working, just one small thing. So basically, that's what you need to see on your screen right now. Here, you're entering your access key. You press authorize, and then you are in the playground. So for the duration of the first part, you will be mostly interacting with this part. Sorry, I didn't let me activate it really quick. So then I also see the full interface. Sorry, because before that it's not the full interface that is visible to me. Just a moment. Okay. I'm just entering my access key and then, okay, gotcha. So basically, let me return this tab back. This is how Playground looks like. So this is Azure OpenAI Playground. How it's different from the standard OpenAI Playground, it has some specific security things built in, and we literally going to explore all the things in the second half of the workshop, where we're going to introduce the concept of jailbreaking and more. So basically, this is the interface. You're going to work mostly with this part. This is where you're going to send messages, and the interaction going to happen in this part. If you're wondering where the temperature, what does temperature means, there will be more information provided in the instructions. So basically, that would be interactive part. And for now, I would say follow step-by-step instructions provided for you in this workshop Global AI Community. And I'm really curious later to see what kind of interesting prompts you created. So I would say within 15 minutes, we get back to this part 2, where I'm going to introduce you more advanced techniques to improve the outputs that model provides for you. And for now, I'm going to switch to handle the conversations with people who doesn't have the links or didn't get access yet.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, fantastic. Good. Okay, thanks, Nancy, for providing all the necessary information. Let's see. And just let Audrey let us know whether it's working for you right now or not. Exciting. Okay, that's really interesting. Okay. Okay, Audrey contacted me. I will proceed with answers. I will mute myself in order not to let everyone hear my keyboard.
It's not that bad. It's a little bad.
No, sometimes you have like it's pretty gentle keyboards, but sometimes you have this like old school, and then it's like which is really distracting.
Sounds like you have a Mac, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
And just like a message for those who join us later, just also let us know whether you managed to get your access key and managed to access your playground for this event. Just let us know as well. Okay, so folks, let us know how it's going. If you need any assistance or help or something doesn't working, just let us know via direct messages. We're gonna monitor the chat, and we literally gonna get back to you. I would say around, I would say 15/7, something like this, 7:15, to continue with the short presentation about the improvement of the prompts, and then it would be your part two for the labs. Let's see. Or probably, I guess, no, somewhere around this time, or even 7:10. Hey, I see there are some newcomers in our chat. Literally, what we are doing right now. We finished the short presentation part and started with the self-paced lab. Basically, there is, I will reshare the link. So, what is requested from your side is to go through the link. Let me just put it again, because I know those who just joined, they don't see the history. So you just follow this link, and for this link, you're putting this event code. I'm copying it right now. So you have the link, then you have the event code. This event code should be provided for the link, and then you will receive email, and this email provides you with so-called access code, and then you can start interacting with OpenAI models. So basically, what you're doing right now, we provided you with event key. Now the link in the chat is to receive your access key, and then use the access key for accessing global AI playground. So it's going to look like this at the end. That's for those who just joined us. And then we will be back around 7 o'clock 10 minutes, or 7 o'clock 15 minutes, to continue with the second part of the presentation and the workshop, if people will be done by this time.
Do the materials work outside of the Netherlands?
So we are checking it right now. So by default, it should. So far, are you, Nancy, get someone else who also cannot connect?
I'm getting someone who's requesting sharing with someone outside of the Netherlands.
It could be that it's limited. So far, I just checked with the support. By default, they're saying it shouldn't. Let's see how it goes.
Can I tell them to try it out, or?
There is a person that just signed that the person is in another time zone and it works. So
Okay.
only one thing, that's the access key is personal, and if you're going to share access key, then or the second person would be logged in, and the person who used to have this access key would be kicked out, or the second person would be not capable of logging in, because it's your personal access code.
Right. Okay.
And just as a quick update, so basically, the recommendation of the support was, if you experience such issues, then literally clean the cookies in the browser, restart the browser, and try again. That basically was the answer. Let's see how it goes. But at least we have living proof with Eleni that it also works for London time zone, at least. Yay! I'm happy. At least now Audrey also get access. Now it works. So Audrey, who has an issue with also getting the access to the playground, now it finally works. Fantastic to hear.
Yeah, cool.
So, folks, I'm wondering how things are going. Should we continue with the second part, or are you still busy with the first one? Just let me know, please. I see yes. It means yes is ready with the first part. Good. Okay, so I will briefly go to first to the recap of the first part. So far, what happened? First, you get access to the playground, which basically the Microsoft version of OpenAI background with some Microsoft guardrails in it. We will cover it soon. So, what you were doing so far? First, you get basic familiarity with foundational models and you start interacting with one of them, eventually with GPT 3.5 Turbo. You learn the really, really basics of prompt engineering. What does it mean to do? And also what you covered so far. You covered like the basic ways how to prompt, which prompts are less useful, what's more or less the limitations of the model, what type of tasks you could try to execute. You also touched upon basically about conversational history, what does it mean, and then get yourself familiar with so-called zero shot and few shot prompt engineering techniques, which were literally finalized by more, let's say, um, complex topic such as chain of thought prompting. But now probably you're wondering, okay, then what's next eventually? So let's see. The question is, so far, all interactions that you were executing, it was more or less for you, for fun, to play around, to understand what's possible, what's not, what are the limitations. But now think broader. Can we use this model to power the websites, like e-commerce websites, to help for specific internal applications for the companies? So in this case, you want to make sure that the models, well, for interaction with them, you want somehow find a way to guide these models to give you even better answers. So for this one, we're literally introducing right now the concept of so-called system prompt. So far, all interactions that you were executing was mostly about so-called like user prompting. So you give a specific request, and then after this request, literally you get your responses back. So idea here is as follows. Now we're introducing the so-called concept of system prompt, in which way we try to direct model in a specific type of communication. System prompt could be like an example that you see on your screen right now. There is specific assistant that helps find some information and do some responses back. Or it could be specific guidelines that you want to follow. You want to add literally everything you want there. And then also you will explore it further in the second part, how the model interact with this. And this is just an example. You prompt in the system to gently assist people with specific things, and you get such answer back. So here is an example. We prompt the model to help people find information in response to specific rhyme. And in this example, you see like this so-called prompt or guided example. You can also say reply in a friendly way or reply in a grumpy way, add some sarcasm to your answers. You can like be wild as you want. But for example, if you want to use it for the customer service, you want to make sure that it stays within specific guidelines. So what you're going to do eventually, you're going to play around with system prompt and you're going to see how to use it. Then next thing, which we're going to cover literally today, that's more or less the concept of responsible AI in the prompt engineering. And that's exactly what differentiates the playground you're using right now from the traditional OpenAI playground, because it already has a set of specific characteristics, which are part of so-called meta prompt. And this helps you to more or less safeguard your model. Because the last thing that you want, that some malicious users started interacting with your model and modifying some rules in such case that the model starts literally being really rude to the customers, or doing some really crazy stuff which you prefer not to. That's why there is a specific really nice guidance created by a huge team of researchers at Microsoft and outside of the Microsoft. So Marnoush Sameki, she's leading the responsible AI practices at Microsoft. And literally there's a huge tons of information available how to set up this meta prompts. So you will literally see how jailbreaks, for example, or safety work. And she, with her team, were literally exploring the new models, also especially like ChatGPT 4. They try to add a lot of harmful content and a lot of really intimidating content to see how the model would respond. Because again, if you're selling, for example, specific goods on your e-commerce websites that probably like sex toys, you don't want that they would be filtered out in case with like the selling of your goods. But at the same time, probably if it's other context and if it's let's say the bot or helper at the school website, you prefer probably that such type of content would be blocked. So you're going to explore it in a bit. What does it mean to add this meta prompt and how responsible AI is implemented and embedded into prompt engineering to prevent harmful content and harmful, literally, misuse of the model, and to protect, of course, the users. And also, the most famous thing is so-called knowledge gap, because the model eventually was GPT-3 was trained on the specific data to the specific date. In this case, you see that GPT 3.5 was trained on the data set before September 2021. So in this case, if you start ask any questions which are not in the training set, that literally model will not be capable to provide you with prompt answer, or it will start so-called hallucinate when we just try to imitate something that makes sense. So in this case, the question is how to mitigate this knowledge gap. You're also going to explore a bunch of techniques how to do that. And that's exactly the story if your model is not aware of your data. So you will briefly touch the rec topic in this. So you'll see how it works. So basically, the question would be, are there any ways to add more knowledge to the prompt? Yes, it is. And that's what you're going to explore further. And then there is a thing. So if you're a developer who creates specific application which use one of these models underneath, these models are not capable of reaching out to your real database and extract information from it. These models are not capable of reaching out near real time to specific, if you want, for example, to know what is the weather right now, there is no way to get such a real answer. It's not going to connect to the real weather API in your location and provide it. So that's why there is a concept which is called function calling. You will briefly touch upon it. It's more advanced, I would say, concept, but at least it's nice to know that it exists, which means that basically you prompt your model, you design specific function, and then you prompt your model to use this specific function. So you will play around with it also a bit. So basically, let me check. Yes, basically that's it for this part. So for now, let's focus on the second part of the workshop, try out all these techniques, and then I would say we will get back at 7:50 to have the closing words about this part and do the last announcement. And also, folks in the chat, fantastic to see it. And a great Maria that you managed to get access to it as well. Just only one thing for Maria, because she joined slightly later. The code will be working only until the duration of the workshop. When the workshop will be closed, the code will be not working anymore, but I will provide you with more info how you can continue. So, folks, we are going gently in the direction of the wrapping up. We have last things left, quick recap, some final words about LLMs, and a bunch of announcements, and a small surprise gift, which you get at the end of the workshop. I will get back to it later. So I will give you one more minute to wrap up, and then I will continue. Okay, so the last thing that's left basically is, yeah, it's a lot of text on this slide, but there is specific message that I want to convey to you. So first, you did a tremendous job today by interacting with this type of model. So in the second part of the workshop, you briefly was introduced with the concept of system message, where probably you saw how the system message can change the tone and behavior of the model, especially its responses. Then you are briefly touch upon the safety features in Azure AI. And after that, you were slightly experiencing how you can add specific knowledge with a concept which is called RAG, Retrieval-Augmented Generation. And then at the end, you were finalizing with so-called function calling. So basically, the main takeaways is, although there are a lot of hype right now in the market, fortunately, these models are not yet ready to replace software developers. So I would say your job is for sure secure for, I guess, a long time. But this could be a really fantastic productivity enhancer for you. For example, in my day to day job, I use this model sometimes when, for example, I need to quickly generate a lot of tasks, or when I need to write specific documentation, or when I need to explore specific legacy code. So there are a lot of space for improvement, of course, but I would say they are not ready yet to replace the real people. And that's also not the goal. The goal is not automation, the goal is augmentation of our skills. So, second point of attention, when you're using such models, it's really nice, let's say, to set up and like the specificity of the knowledge level which you require from the model. And you can do it by using system prompt. In the system prompt, you can define, let's say, how intelligent answers you want to get. For example, you can say that you're an assistant with a high level of IQ, or if you want to really oversimplified answer, you can say something like answer as if you are like 3 year old, or you explaining it to let's say less knowledgeable person. That's things that you can do. And what is also really nice is to write this so-called detailed prompts with examples to get the better outputs. And that was, as today you were shown, for example, zero shot we see versus few shot prompting, exactly with the topic of providing specific structure to the output, and with the idea that you want to get it, that it's going to generate for you this desired solution. So when building, embedding these models in AI applications or power applications with them, the prompt tuning would be your key. But at the same time, you can think about that the prompt engineering adding another level of complexity, because before that you need to get track of a lot of things, and now you also get prompts, and prompts they're in a natural language, which, like, if the prompt change, then the behavioral model could change drastically. We need to keep this in mind. But so far, the prompt tuning is the key. And you saw it today by playing around with different prompts and try out different things. So of course, user interface matters. And you have a good example when ChatGPT was announced, the whole internet exploded because the proper user interface on top of this model make it available for the biggest population. And then one thing that is you should, let's say, keep in mind that these models are pretty heavy and they're pretty costly to use. So the longer prompt you're giving, the more tokens it take, and it's usually priced based on the amount of tokens, which means that sometimes definitely it would be much wiser not to use third-party proprietary models such this and replace it with self-hosted models, which would provide lower costs of running and using them. So basically, with these things said, what I want to point you out to that there are more concepts and resources explained, so you can continue to explore the basically the things here. There are more concepts and resources, and also there are some information what you can do if you want to continue after this workshop, if you want to play further with this. So if you want further go through that, you will definitely need an Azure subscription or get an access, for example, to OpenAI resources. So there are more information about that. And definitely there are more resources available with some key points about this, more or less. So now I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. Just let me do this. So basically, let me just double check the streaming. That streaming is going fine forward. Okay. So the next thing is the next workshop. That would be workshop where you will be writing Python code, of course, as our traditional workshops. We're going to announce it soon. So for now, mark 23rd of April in your agenda. And this workshop would be a really nice follow-up because it would be an introduction to RAG with Elastic given by Anastasia Havrushenko. So we will announce soon whether it would be only in person or a hybrid event. So keep this in mind. And also I would say that in June, we will get in back to this topic as well. And as the last piece that I mentioned, we have a small gift for you. So again, codes and links. So now I'm sharing the link with you in the chat. And this link is to get your digital badge. So if you go through this link and enter the new code, this is how it works, right? So you get a link and you get a code. Via this link and via this code, you could receive a digital badge, which is basically confirms the attendance of this event. So I encourage you to use your real name and surname because in this case, you can use this badge and then you can showcase it on your social media if you're interested. So I guess that's it for today. If you have any questions, we have a bunch of minutes. Feel free to ask them in the chat or unmute yourself. Yeah, the floor is yours eventually for the next 3 minutes. So far, I see some messages in the chat. Okay, thank you. Thank you as well for attending. Okay, that is exactly a question. So if there are any further resources on how to use functions with AI as an example, that would be great. Yeah, basically, if let me just Google it in the sense of, I remember that it was on Azure OpenAI function calling. Just let me grab it for you. And you have really good example. I'm just going to copy link to the documentation. So in case it would be specifically to Azure OpenAI service, but it could be also different. So this is an example how to use function calling with Azure OpenAI services. And this is pure Python in this case. And this gives you an opportunity to play around with in different playgrounds, also using PowerShell just in case. And there are more information available. But this would be, I would say, a really nice starting point for you to play around with. Great to hear. You have last minute. Let's see if anything else pops up in the last one. Yeah, thanks for the comments. There definitely would be more, and we will do more in this direction because it's pretty much complex topic. Okay, great. So then I guess see you at our next event, which is going to take place at 23rd of April, an introduction to Rack concept with Elastic. And then more awesome workshops are on its way. But for all of them, you will need good Python setup to be a part of the workshop. I wish you all the nice evening and thank you for joining our session with